Good morning students. Welcome you all in online teaching session of Academic World School by Mitra. Dear children, we are learning the second chapter of Indian Economic Development and the name of the chapter is Indian Economy 1950 to 1990. In this chapter, till now we have learned the 5-year plan, the goal of the 5-year plan. Then we have learned about the condition of agricultural sector during 1950 to 1990. Then we have learned about the condition of industrial sector 1950 to 1990. Today we will going to learn the topic that is foreign trade during 1950 to 1990. So let us begin with this topic today. Foreign refers to the other country here and trade refers to buying and selling. So we will going to learn in this chapter what are the changes have been done during 1950 to 1990 in the foreign trade sector, or we can say in the trade sector of a country. So I will begin with first the meaning of foreign trade. What is foreign trade? It refers to the export and import of goods and services between the two or more countries. Export refers to selling the product from India to other country. Import refers to buying the product from other countries to India. So when two or more countries do export and import, that is called the foreign trade. In another way, we can explain the meaning as it means buying and selling of goods and services beyond the geographical boundaries of the nation. It is also called a foreign trade. Foreign trade is done by each and every country to meet the needs and demands of their own country. Now, I want to give the example of foreign trade. That India buying the machines from Japan is an example of foreign trade, or India selling the machines to USA is also an example of foreign trade. So I think you have understood the meaning of foreign trade. Now let us begin what happened during 1950 to 1990 in the field of trade sector of a country. During first 7 5-year plan, India's foreign trade characterized by the inward-looking trade strategy. What do we mean by inward-looking trade strategy? It is a strategy in which government started promoting the exports of a country and started discouraging the imports by the country. That is called inward-looking trade strategy, which is also known as import substitution, which is also known as import substitution. There were many reasons behind adopting this strategy, that is inward-looking trade strategy. I just explained you the meaning. It means encouraging the exports of goods and services by the country to the rest of the world and discouraging the imports by the country from the rest of the world. That is the meaning of inward-looking trade strategy. So, how we have adopted this strategy? Let us look now. Policy for the inward looking trade strategy policy for the inward looking trade strategy. The first one, import substitution. What do we mean by import substitution? It means substitution of imports by the domestic production. It means substitution of imports by the domestic production. In simple manner, import substitution refers to developing a substitute for the imported goods in own country itself, rather buying from other country. Example I want to give you: instead of buying a machine made of foreign country, instead of buying a machine made in foreign country, developing or doing the production of that machine in the domestic country is refers to the import substitution. The reason behind import substitution, the reasons behind the import substitutions are to protect the domestic industry, to promote the domestic industry, to make the country self-dependent, self-reliant, and to create, or you can say to save the foreign exchange reserve. So this was the reason behind the import substitution. We will learn this reason one by one. Reasons of import substitution. The first reason of import substitution is to protect the domestic industry. Second, to promote the domestic industry. Third, to save the precious foreign exchange. Fourth one, to make country self-reliance, etc. What the reason of developing an import substitution? To understand these topics, we have to learn the meaning of tariff and quotas. So policy adopted to discourage imports policy adapted to discourage imports were tariff and quotas. Now what do we mean by the tariff? It means tax levied on the imports of goods to make the foreign product expensive. That is the meaning of tariff. What I have written? Tariff is a tax charged on the imports of goods to make the foreign product expensive. To make the foreign product costlier, government charge the tariff duty. When government charge the tariff duty, automatically the cost of foreign product in our country will going to increase, and the price will going to increase of the foreign product. So the consumer of our country will discourage to buy the foreign product. Second one is the quota. What do you mean by quota? What do you mean by the quota? Quota means fixing the maximum limits to import, fixing the maximum limit to import of a commodity refers to a quota. Means particular commodity will be going to import in fixed quantity only. That refers to a quota. Fixed quantity of a particular commodity will be only going to import by the country. That is the quota. So this is the two main, I can say, policy adopted by the government, that is tariff and quota, to discourage the imports by our country. Once again, I want to revise the meaning of tariff and quota. Tariff means tax charge on the import of goods and services to make the foreign product costlier, expensive. That is the meaning of tariff. Second, quota refers to fixing the maximum limit to import the particular commodity from the foreign country in our country. That is the meaning of quota. Now, after knowing this, the meaning of tariff and quota, we will be able to understand the reasons for import substitution. As I told you, the first reason of import substitution was to protect the domestic industry from the foreign competition. Foreign goods are better quality products and it is a less expensive product. So to protect our domestic industry, government started charging the tax in terms of tariff on the imported goods. So the domestic industry will be protected and the demand of domestic product will be going to be in the country. Next one, the next reason of import substitution is to promote the domestic industry. To promote the domestic industry, again government not charging the duty to export the goods to the other country, to do the potential utilization of production capacity of the domestic country. Third reason of import substitution is to save the precious foreign exchange reserves. Spending the foreign currency on the luxurious goods by importing it from other country is not a good sign. So to save that foreign currency, to meet the need of basic necessity, government started charging the tariff and quota to save the foreign exchange, because it is very precious. It can be used in the future to meet the basic requirement or to meet the some emergency requirement. So foreign exchange is precious. So to save that, government adopt the import substitution technique, and also government started charging the tariff and quota. Last one, to make country self-reliance, government adopted the import substitution. Instead of buying the goods and services, instead of buying the machines, technology, medicines from other country itself started using their own resource to develop that product. So country will become dependent. In the future, if the foreign country not doing the supply, it will not going to affect our country. So import substitutions have been done for these following reasons, and is able to achieve through tariff and quota. So that is the meaning of import substitution. So this is about the foreign trade. Today we have learned. We have learned the meaning of foreign trade. We have learned the tariff and quota, and we have learned the reasons for import substitution. So these are the subtopics we have learned under the foreign trade. My dear children, this was the last topic in the second chapter. Now we will going to learn what we have learned in the different sectors, in agricultural sector, in industrial sector, and in the trade sector. We will going to analyze that, and the name of that topic is critical appraisal of the, I have written here, critical appraisal of the different sectors during 1950 to 1990. Sometimes in an exam it is asked to analyze the or give your view on the agricultural sector during 1950 to 1990, on industrial sector during 1950 to 1990, and on trade sector during 1950 to 1990. So we will learn again this topic. In this topic, usually we will going to learn what was the achievements and what was the failure during the 1950 to 1990 in the different sectors. So my dear children, note down the subtopic which I am writing now. Critical appraisal of the different sector of the different sectors during 1950 to 1990. Under this, we will first going to analyze about the agricultural sector. We have learned that in agricultural sector, under 5-year plan, India adopted the land reforms, and these land reforms helped to abolition of zamindari system. From a country. And how it has been done, land reform? It has been done through the land ceiling and by the how? Abolition of intermediary. And this leads to the equitable distribution of land among the farmers. So this was one of the achievement under agricultural sector, that is land reforms have been done by the government. When government adopted this land reform system, it leads to the abolition of zamindari system, and that have been done by land ceiling, by abolition of intermediaries. So this helped to achieve the aim of the 5-year plan, that is the equity in the distribution of land among the different farmers, that is among the small farmer, medium farmer and large farmer. Apart from that, in agricultural sector we adopted the Green Revolution. This Green Revolution strategy helped to increase the agricultural production. It means when the country under 5-year plan adopted Green Revolution strategy, it leads to increase in the production of agricultural goods in the country, and hence country able to meet the aim of self-reliance in food grain. Self-reliance in food grain. So this was the achievement of equitable distribution of land and the self-reliance in a food grain during 1950 to 1919 under the agricultural sector. Agricultural sector contribution to the GDP have been increased. Till 1990, 65% of the people were engaged in the agricultural activity because of this strategy adopted by the government. So this is about agricultural sector analysis appraisal during 1950 to 1990. Now we will learn the critical appraisal of the industrial sector from 1950 to 1990. The first achievement under industrial sector during 1950 to 1990 was, that is, increase in the contribution of industrial sector to GDP. GDP means gross domestic production. During 1950 to 1990, industrial sector contribution to the GDP have been increased, and the data I am mentioning here, just look at. From 1950 to 51, it was 11.8% contribution of industrial sector to GDP. But after adopting the various policies and the measures under industrial sector during 1990 to 91, 1950 to 51, it was 11.8%. The contribution of industrial sector to the GDP. But during 1990 to 91, it became the 24.6% to the GDP. So this is a remarkable growth of industrial product have been done. Second one, that is diversification. Of industrial product during 1950 to 1990. Means public sector unit able to diversify their production line. They able to start doing the production in different areas. The third one, that is promotion of small scale industry. Under industrial sector, government start promoting the small scale industry to bring the rural development, and that we able to achieve by promoting the small scale industry. So this is the one of the achievement, that is rural development, or we can say balanced regional development, able to achieve. Fourth one, that is IPR 1956, Industrial Policy Resolution 1956, also introduced to classify the industries into different sector and licensing policy adopted. Due to licensing policy, due to the, I can say the licensing policy, that is excessive control of the government, leads to hindrance to growth of industrial sector. My dear children, we have learned under the IPR policy 1956 that in which government classify the industries into different sectors, Schedule A, Schedule B and Schedule C, and to control further government adopted the licensing policy. So it was excessive control from the government and restrictions from the government side, and it analyzed that because of this excessive control and restrictions of the government on the private sector leads to the hindrance to the growth. If this policy was not there, then there might be a chance of more growth of the industrial sector. So this was the appraisal of the industrial sector during 1950 to 1990. Increase in the GDP of the country, means contribution of industrial sector to the GDP have been increased. Then diversification of industrial product have been done by the public sector unit till 1990. Fourth, the government promoted the small scale industry under industrial sector to bring rural development. Then government adopted the IPR policy to categorize the industry into different categories. So the proper development will be done of the different sectors. But under that, government also adopted the licensing policy to have control over the private sector. So this leads to restrictions and the control of the government, which leads to the hindrance to the growth of industrial sector. So this is about the industrial sector. Now, my dear children, we will learn the critical appraisal of the trade sector. Critical appraisal of the trade sector. That topic which we have learned today. As today we have learned about the foreign trade, in that the government adopted the inward looking strategy that is called import substitution. Import substitution by tariff and quota. But India could not able to develop a strong base for export sector. Not able to develop the export sector. This is the one analysis. India adopted import substitutions to protect the domestic industry. On the other hand, India wanted to promote the export of goods from our country to the rest of the world. But India could not able to do that. Export sector not able to develop up to the expectation. And because of the import substitution, the domestic consumer were forced to buy the domestic product, and our product, domestic product, could not able to meet the quality of international market. Domestic product not able to meet the international standard quality. Second, lack of competition. Lack of competition in domestic country due to the tariff and quota barrier leads to the low quality of domestic product. The producer will not took that much initiative to produce a quality product, so it will able to compete in international market. They came into safe zone, and hence the inventions not able to achieve to that extent. So this we have learned about the trade sector. In that, the government adopted import substitution policy to make countries self-reliance, and because of this policy we able to protect the domestic industry, but our domestic industry were not able to produce the quality product which can compete to the international product, and we also got failed to develop a strong export sector. So this is the analysis of the trade sector. My dear children, this was the last topic of the second chapter which we have completed today. Now you all have to go through the questions behind the chapter, and I will going to upload the assignments for this lecture, and you have also got the assignments of all the other lectures which you all have to do in your economics homework copy, and you have to take a picture and submit on the ERP. Thank you. Have a nice day.